I've asked Member Wilson to offer an opening prayer, after which if you'd all rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Our Father in heaven, we bow before thee. We're grateful for the opportunity once again to gather together as members of the Planning Commission and the community. We're grateful for the interest that is shown. We're grateful for the members of the community. Ask a blessing upon this community, and please bless us with the things we need. We also ask a blessing tonight as Planning Commission that we may be able to see things clearly and make decisions in the best interests of the citizen and the county. And we ask for these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, next item on our agenda is the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Member Bass and a second by Member Little. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Declaration of any conflicts of interest with any item on the agenda. Seeing none, now's the time for public comment. There are no legislative items on the agenda tonight, so there won't be time to speak during the meeting to any of the agenda items. So if you have something to say regarding the Whitbeck Platte vacation, and then we're also going to be having a work session with the Mount Green and Peterson area plan. Now would be the time for you to make any comments. So if you have a comment, please come to the lectern and please speak into the mic and state your name for the record.
Hi, Julie Croft. I was just wanting to mention to the Planning Commission that when you start looking into Peterson, I've noticed that on your Google Maps, and you use them all the time up here, that part of Peterson is part of the property ownership is missing in places like near our house, and it's been like that for some time. I've mentioned it to a couple people in the county, but I notice it's still like that. And my concern is, and you have roads that are not named correctly on some of them. But anyway, you do have a disclaimer, but what concerns me is that the county actually uses these maps when I came up and says, we'd like to do something with our property. And you may have changed these things now. But anyway, she would say, well, let's look at this map up here. And Peterson Creek Road, which I am on and have been for 50 years, went a complete different place. So anyway, it's back to normal now, but still there are missing property ownerships. I just thought I'd put that.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Seeing none, we will now move on to our agenda item, the Whitbeck Platte vacation.
Thank you and good evening, Madam Chair and members of the Planning Commission. The application before you tonight is the Whitbeck Platte Vacation Application number 24.021, located at approximately 2115 North Morgan Valley Drive. There is a parcel and a lot that are being affected by this plat amendment. We use the plat amendment application and process because we don't have one specifically for the plat vacation, but it works. And the acreage being affected is 0.26 acres. And again, that's a small parcel and a lot combined. The current zoning is rural residential 1 acre minimum, RR1, completely for any lot or parcel we'll be discussing tonight. The request is for a plat amendment to vacate 2 lots from the Ned Whitbeck subdivision. And rather a parcel and a lot, just like I've talked about, identified by the parcel numbers and serial numbers in your staff report, and to combine those lot and parcel into an additional larger parcel also under the applicant's ownership. And this is all located within Milton, and I don't believe there's too much to say. Similar to how we've done before, our office has stipulated that the 0.26 acres be combined by way of a parcel land adjustment after approval from the county commission for this plat vacation. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any questions for staff? I've got some, but you,
I just need to be able to see the map, but also, why do people vacate? Like, what's the purpose of a vacation?
you're removing it from the subdivision. And if you could pull up the, okay, yeah, that one. I remember when this came to us, like in 2019 or somewhere along in there. And made this amendment. If you notice under lot, expand it 3A, there's kind of a long skinny parcel, if you see that in the dotted line. That's one of the parcels, but it's, first of all, neither parcel is part of the subdivision according to the plat. If you can see the boundary of the subdivision, and the description follows that boundary. But for whatever reason, this one square, maybe, Jeremy, I'm sorry to, I know you're not feeling the best. The one square parcel,
There's a pen on the side.
okay, that, for whatever reason, the description of that still refers to it as part of the subdivision, even though you can see the boundary of the subdivision.
So the boundary is in the dark black.
Uh-huh. And these two,
We're talking about are the dotted lines.
the dotted
outside
lines.
of it.
The square one, for whatever reason, on the tax rolls and whatever, it's listed as part of the subdivision. And I don't understand, we don't know why that happened. But the long skinny one, the horizontal one, that parcel is not listed as part of the subdivision, so I don't think it needs to be vacated from the subdivision. 'Cause as far as the county's concerned, it is out of the subdivision, both according to the plat and according to the description.
We could probably chalk it up to an error in county records or something kind of like that. Lot, parcel.
But the parcel, but
So the lot is supposed to be, the square is supposed to be in a lot.
no, it was taken out of the subdivision with this amendment.
The black line should just go around here.
No, it's not supposed to be part of subdivision. They took it out,
I thought that's what you just said.
that's what, yeah, they took it out of the subdivision, but for whatever reason on the tax rolls, it is described as part of the Whitbeck subdivision, even though it was taken out with the amendment. If that's making sense, there's an error that this vacation will straighten out. The parcel was taken out properly.
The way this was even discovered, and the applicant can speak to this, was just the assessment value is assessed by it being still a lot and not a parcel, and so that's why the applicant is here. And to answer your question, people can vacate the plat if they want to. I wouldn't argue for or against it. It's just something people can do. So they want to do that, and it would correct an error in the county records. And then once the vacation is complete, approved by the county commission, then that's where we would do like we've done for other applications and give them the road ahead to do a parcel line adjustment to have that. This would be like the larger parcel right here, and we can show better on another map that they could consolidated into that larger ranch parcel and go their merry way.
Because I hate to make you walk back, but if you can go to the vacation plat, it points. I'm doing double duty tonight, yeah. Yeah, they're right there. Ms. Fair has pointed out that that is the vacated portion, just that square.
That is, or that's what's being proposed?
That's being proposed.
That is vacated from the subdivision.
Right, even though it's technically not in the subdivision, according to the description on the county records, it is.
So the description on the plat
Well-
has that as part of the subdivision?
No, the plat, no.
It doesn't have it
It
as part of
doesn't.
the subdivision.
No, the plat's accurate, just the description, like at the bottom of tax rolls, they have a legal description. And the legal description calls it as part of that subdivision. It, for whatever reason, there was an error made. Don't know where it happened or how it happened, so this will clarify it.
Description is correct right here.
And that's Whitbeck's property, right?
Yes, yeah.
Discussing that.
And he's gonna incorporate it into the big parcel.
Okay.
But I don't think we need to vacate the 01004-226-02-2, because it's not part of the subdivision according to the county.
To perhaps navigate some confusion, you could call out the serial number in your motion. And then, again, pass along staff's recommendation for the combination with the larger ranch parcel.
Just the one serial number,
Uh-huh. Just so everyone's on the same page.
that would, I will.
It says it right here, NWIT 1-0001-1.
Okay, let me, I've got it here too.
So we are vacating the square.
That's square. That's it.
The others,
And the other doesn't need to be vacated because it's not, hasn't been included.
right, the description is accurate on that one. But
The two have history together, the lot and the parcel.
they were done at the same time.
Ah.
So the serial number that we're vacating is 01-NWIT1-0001-1.
That's correct, and that would provide enough specificity for your motion.
So in the motion, that would be the added condition that that is the parcel being vacated, or lot. I think that right now it calls it all of lot 1. So there's some errors.
And is the biggest problem there being taxed for something that's not what it really is? Is that?
Well, it's not on Greenbelt like the big parcel is. So those two parcels are being taxed at full value.
And that wasn't really a consideration for our review. They won't vacate. They take this process to vacate.
And then incorporate it into the big parcel, and then it can all be on Greenbelt.
We're just taking to make sure it's done.
Yeah,
right.
but that's the underlying problem, is it's not on Greenbelt.
Greenbelt, right,
That's why they're vacating it.
correct. You, if you'd please come up to lectern and, yes, state your name for the record.
I'm Ned Whitbeck. So this is the one that affects me. And as far as that one narrow piece being, when we changed the subdivision, we changed the boundary lines, that one lot, which Moffe's owned, was not part of the subdivision. Brenda, to make these changes, said it had to be part of the subdivision to do it. And so when we changed those lines for each of the home lots, then it ended up still leaving that one piece of property out. And you can say it's not part of the subdivision because it wasn't then, but it kind of is left over from a part of a subdivision now. And so my whole thing with this is I want to get all of this as all of that main piece of property as one piece of property instead of one big piece and two little teeny tiny pieces that are not in Greenbelt and that I have to pay separate taxes on. And I can't put them in Greenbelt until this is all done. And so I'm being taxed higher for them, and it's a nuisance. And I just want a one piece of property. And so I'm trying to do whatever it takes to get that back to one piece of property back there. And so whatever happens here, I just hope, whether you call it a vacation of subdivision or not, please vacate it back so I can get it into the property, however you do it.
That's our goal too.
Any questions for me?
Do you have any questions for the applicant?
No, that answered mine.
Okay, thank you. Any more discussion or questions?
So originally, the application wants to vacate both sections, the
Well,
rectangle and the square.
yes, but the rectangle does
But
not.
and if we did that, that would put it back to one parcel.
No, what we're doing is they're still gonna be separate parcels. They're gonna have to do a boundary line adjustment between those parcels. All it is doing is removing the square one from the subdivision. That vacated portion is what,
And because the rectangle one is not part of the subdivision, it doesn't have to be vacated.
no, it was done properly. I don't know.
And why is that another different section? Like, why wasn't that just left with the big portion?
Because it was once part of Lot 3. It was once part of Lot 3, and that Lot 3's boundary moved up.
Why?
When they re-subdivided, can go back to the amended subdivision, amended one, I guess it's right above it. I know it's getting,
If it was a mistake, that's fine. I just don't understand why
okay.
it was in Lot 3. Now it's not
Okay,
in Lot 3.
If you look at here.
But it's not part of the big parcel.
Lot 3, at one time, included that small parcel, narrow parcel underneath it, and then it went up, you can see, I want to keep, and then it went up toward the road. See that line there? That was the original lot. They increased the lot further south. They gave more property to Lot 3. And in giving that lot more property, they took the property back here off of it. And Lot 1, since they took some of Lot 1 away from Lot 1, they added some on the back of Lot 1
Okay.
to keep it conforming. So it's kind of a trade of property
Right.
for Lot 3.
Okay.
But whatever reason, that one square that was once part of Lot 1A, even though it's outside the boundary of the subdivision, described subdivision, it has the description
So
with
we
it,
need
that
to
it is part of that.
vacate the square and that's it, because the other stuff should be able to be fixed with a.
Line adjustment.
Yeah, boundary line adjustment, yes.
Okay.
And then you can put it into the big parcel, both of them. Clear as mud, right?
Yeah.
So, any more questions for staff? Applicant? So the only added condition is, just to clarify, that the only piece that's being vacated is that 01 NWIT 1-0001-1. That's the serial number.
Got that written down, Haley?
Yeah. I didn't see where it said 01, but I
Well,
can put
we-
01 on it.
Let me-
I saw where it said NWIT 1, but not a 01 in front.
I'm-
from one of the maps that.
I'm going into the tax roll to verify.
Both numbers work.
Yeah, the tax roll says 01-NWIT 1-0001-1.
All right, Madam Chair, I move we recommend approval to the County Commission of the Whitbeck Plat Vacation Application Number 24.021, approximately located at 2115 North Morgan Valley Drive within Milton, based on the findings listed in the staff report, with the change that we are only vacating the parcel
Serial number.
serial number 01-NWIT1-001-1.
3 zeros. 0001-1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is the square on the plat, not, we're not vacating the rectangle, because it doesn't need to be vacated.
Okay. We have a motion by Member Bass. Do I have a second? A second by Member Wilson. Any questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we'll move on to the next item. And this is our work session. And we'll start with the Mountain Green Area Plan. And if you could move to page 30, that's, the beginning part of the area plans is a lot of information, community profile, existing conditions, data and that. So we won't go over that. I encourage you to read it. I've read it. It's interesting. But we don't need to change information. So if you can, down on page 30 is the guiding principles. You're getting there? Page 30. Okay, that's guiding principles, so go to the next page where they start.
So my first question is, the comments that were made the last time this was brought up from the public, have those been addressed or not addressed?
We haven't addressed them yet. We haven't gotten to that portion. I've got the comments here.
Okay.
Right now, we're just gonna go over the guiding principles and make sure we agree, we're in agreement, those
Okay.
are appropriate guiding principles, and we're in agreement. Or if you want some of them taken out or changed. So, do you want our school teacher to read?
Yeah, until I start hacking. The guiding principles, let's see, maintain the small town feel. You want me to read it, all of it? The
Yeah,
little
if you could
stuff
read
too?
it, maintain the small town feel.
Both longtime residents and recent transplants consistently cite the small town feel of Mountain Green as a primary characteristic that both brought them there and the most important element they want to preserve moving forward.
Okay, are we in agreement with that? Does anyone have any concerns with that statement?
I agree with that's what they want, but with all the development, that's not what's gonna happen.
Right. But you agree with the statement, that's what people want? That's what is that a guiding principle that we want for Mountain Green?
What did the people say? I wasn't at that meeting, so I don't know what their comments were.
This is
I said
taken,
there were some saying yes, they like it, others saying just keep the original. Some say do nothing at all, yeah.
This was taken mainly, this information was taken from the survey that they put out. It was mailed to everyone, or attempted to be mailed to everyone.
I would say in general, yes, we want to keep Morgan a small town feel no matter where in Morgan it is.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay.
Maintain the town's resident-focused community. Mountain Green's natural setting is close proximity to the Wasatch Front, and its direct connection to Snow Basin are major assets that offer the potential for the town to become a significant tourism destination and resort-based community. However, Mountain Green has historically been a small town of full-time residents, which is an important distinction that should be maintained. Residents have consistently stated their desire to not become a resort town or tourist-based community, such as Park City, which can often overtake the existing character of the community.
Okay. Agreement with that statement? The only thing I see with that is, I agree with it, but we have in our code short-term rentals, which is antithetical to maintaining resident-focused community. So we have so many short-term rentals in Mountain Green now.
Right.
So I think our code is at odds with that statement, even though I agree with the statement. We've allowed short-term rentals.
But that's also because that's what people have wanted to, right?
I'm not sure, I don't know if the neighbors really like the short-term rentals or not, but they are allowed in our code. And so they're, you don't think a
I'm
direct
just saying, why
connection?
are you saying that those are major assets, and then the very next sentence is, yes, they're major assets, but we don't want them.
We don't,
I mean, it's not wrong, it's just simply saying you're basically the first sentence and the second sentence, or the rest of the paragraph is basically conflicting.
but the however, yeah.
I understand, yeah, there's a however, but it's, I don't know why you would need to acknowledge their major assets if you're gonna say, we don't want those major assets, or we're not gonna utilize those major assets, or whatever you wanna. I would just.
Okay.
I think for its sake is just trying to tell us where we need to focus our guidelines on here. You know, try not to drag in that potential tourism, but try to keep it resident focused.
Right, and that's what the last sentence says, right? So
Yeah.
I'm saying that's why the first sentence basically, I don't know why you'd say this is good, but we don't want, or but we're saying it's bad. In other words, you can just leave that as the last sentence and have it covered.
It's kind of even though Morgan County,
Even though we have all these assets that make everybody lots of money, we don't want it, and therefore it's bad. It's kind of what it sounds like. So.
So I have a question. If, let's say that we want to keep that, and one of the ways to do that is to not have short-term rentals. Do we go back and change the code?
that could be a recommendation to go back and look at it when we get
But
to
then
that
if
point.
okay, all right.
But,
Got it.
yeah, I think that could be a recommendation. Or to really limit where they are allowed. I've got that highlighted, so come back.
I also would probably take out that first sentence. Because it says, the potential for the town to become significant tourism destination and resort-based community. But Mount Green doesn't want that. So I would probably just leave it as, Mountain Green has historically been a small town of full-time residents, which is an important distinction that should be maintained. Residents have consistently stated their desire to not become a resort town or tourist-based community. I would even take out such as Park City, which can often overtake the existing character of the community.
Everyone says they don't want to become Park City. I think that's why that's left in there. That's
Right.
their main comment.
Alright, preserve open space, mountain views, and dark skies. The natural beauty of Mountain Green is one of the greatest assets. The incredible mountain views, abundant open spaces, and dark skies make this place truly special. While future development will inherently reduce the amount of open space, there are numerous planning and policy tools that should be used to preserve important open spaces, protect key view sheds, and ensure the dark skies of Mountain Green remain. These tools will help ensure the area's most cherished resources and assets remain an integral part of the community in perpetuity.
Okay. Are we in agreement with that one?
It talks about the tools, but there's not any specific tools.
Well,
Are the specific tools in the code?
I
Are the specific tools gonna be later on?
think later on.
Okay.
These are just guiding principles.
And the last one is embrace the mountain town character and aesthetic. Mountain Green residents love the proximity and access to the mountains and outdoor recreation opportunities. The town should embrace and promote this character and aesthetic through architecture and design, as well as the commercial uses, services, and activities that occur in the town.
Okay. Any concerns with that statement? Not, we will move on to the next section of B, strategic about future growth.
Guide growth to appropriate locations. Growth is inevitable, but where and how growth occurs is something that can be shaped by direction from county leaders and residents in the form of plans and policies. It is essential to embrace that reality and create a plan that respects private property rights while also articulating a clear vision for a future town that residents will embrace and love. Impacts to existing residents should also be considered, and new growth should be located in areas with minimal impacts or otherwise take steps to mitigate potential impacts.
Any concerns with that statement? Okay. Move on.
Ensure quality and compatibility. Mountain Green is an extraordinary place and high standards are expected for future development. It is critical to require development to be compatible with the mountain environment and rural character of the area, and development should support the community's goals. All development should be done in a manner that minimizes visual disturbance to the landscape and works with the natural topography to blend into their surrounding environment.
Move on.
I feel like that's the same as the first one, but that's fine. Support property rights. Private property rights are a foundational right and should be supported. Ultimately, there needs to exist a balance between the rights of landowners, developers, and community members through a clear, fair, and transparent process that allows development to occur in alignment with agreed upon plan that supports the overall well-being of the community.
Okay. We'll move on to the next section. I don't see any more comments on that. Create a great town center.
Create a cohesive and attractive town center. Unlike many small towns, Mountain Green does not have a historic town center. Recognizing the value that these places can provide, plans have called for a new town center to be constructed in the area surrounding the future I-84 interchange near the intersection of Old Highway Road and Trappers Loop Road. To be successful and create the type of place that residents desire, a great emphasis should be placed on creating a well-designed, cohesive, and attractive town center.
Hasn't it already
Hasn't been designed, it's been zoned.
Oh, I guess I saw all the other buildings going up around there. I would have assumed that most of it has been designed.
Well, it's been patchwork designed, unfortunately, yes.
Seems like by the time this gets passed, it will have been designed.
We'll
Not
get
that
to,
it matters, I
we'll-
just was curious.
we'll get to that, I agree.
Create a sense of place unique to Mountain Green. The ability to create a new town center is a rare opportunity that should be capitalized on with excitement. It should be designed in a clear manner that is specific to Mountain Green and uniquely reflects the values and identity of the community. Residents have been clear that they don't want to see Mountain Green turned into a haphazardly placed strip malls and truck stops. Residents are willing to be patient, if necessary, to wait for the market to mature to the point that high-quality, unique development is a standard. The ultimate goal is to create something special with a strong sense of place and something residents will be proud of.
And this is where I inserted Main Street. Mountain Green should have a Main Street that's planned out, a walkable, as,
Yeah, but how do we control that when all these pieces of property keep getting just sold to different people and pieced together? I feel like, yeah, we have a town center and we have standards of what we want to see in the town center, but we can't control, where did it say?
Anything?
Yeah. Let's see.
it's kind of turning into haphazardly.
Right, we can't control what goes in there.
I agree.
We can't make them have a nice little main street that's walkable.
Yeah, I feel like it's slipping away from us, and I agree. I don't know. We can't force it. As long as they develop it in compliance with their code, we have to allow that development.
Right.
So what's
Right.
the point of all of these statements that they really have zero? I mean, it feels like, in other words, we're saying a lot of nice words to make people feel nice when they read it, but otherwise there's no impact. It doesn't have any impact beyond that.
Unless we
That's
had,
true.
unless we had a zone, a Main Street, I don't know, special zone, but
I mean, it seems like you could replace all these pages with, we don't want it to be Park City or big, and we want to have respect private or land ownership. And that would be the whole, you could summarize the whole section with that.
probably. But yeah, I agree. I don't know if what tools, I'll make a note of that. What tools we can
Well,
have in
and lower
place.
there's a walkable and friendly. We cannot guarantee a walkable area.
We haven't, in the commercial, in the town center, the connectivity as far as walking and that, and paths and that, but on the whole, you're right. But I've made a note.
Alright.
But if we don't do something, then it'll just keep going worse, right?
But we
Right, it's
can't
just
do
gonna be the
anything, it's
patchwork.
problem, right? In other words, yes, everybody wants it, but if you can't do anything, saying a whole bunch of aspirational things that will never, you have zero ability to affect, I don't know the point of it.
It's up, yeah.
No, I
it's-
think we have more than zero effect. I think we have a lot more than that.
We've got the landowners, and I guess maybe the county needs to have some carrots out there to encourage this type of development that we want. I don't know what exactly those are, but there's gotta be a way to encourage them to do this.
They were talking, somebody, I don't know what conversation it was, but that to have some incentives for developers to develop how we want, but the code doesn't require them to do that.
Right, we need some other tools in place, so that's, like I said, I've written that down, and that maybe be a request to,
Only incentive they're probably gonna care about is whether or not they can make
The
additional
money
money,
up.
right?
right.
So unless the county is willing to give them more size or give them money, they're probably not going to do anything that's otherwise or not incentivized by that.
But also the area plan, as I was just reminded, the area plan is to help us guide the direction that we want. So, yeah, this is the direction we want. When it comes down to it, can we absolutely make that happen? Probably not. But,
And hopefully
We
these
could use
area
it as a
plans will
guide.
guide our general plan revision,
right.
saying this is what we want.
Okay, create a town square as the center of Mountain Green. History has proven the value of incorporating a town square or other central gathering places as the heart of a town center. A well-planned town square will become an important asset to the community. It can host events, bring activity and energy to the town center, and support the retail and commercial uses.
Okay, again, same comments as before.
Walkable and friendly. For a town square to be successful, it needs to be human scaled, walkable and friendly to pedestrians. The streets in the area and the needs of the vehicles must be carefully planned to not dominate the town center and create an unfriendly, unsightly, and loud environment. A well-connected, cohesive network of pedestrian-friendly streets is an essential element of a good town center.
Is there any identification as to where a town center would be there? Like, I mean, I know it's in the gravel code, do they have a designation on it that says?
We have some town center zoning in place.
I don't
Do
think
you know where it sits exactly though? Do you know? Like,
what they're suggesting.
yeah, I mean, I'm just curious if we're making this as part of their plan. Have they identified where that is?
No, not a Main Street type that we're talking about.
Yeah, it's different from
Stores.
the town center zoning and the actual town
Town
center
c-
that they're talking about. They're talking about Main Street, walkable stores.
And there's no place identified where that is, but yet we have the town center zone.
Is that really what people mean by town center? In other words, a shopping place, or usually it's more of like a park, you have a fairground, you have a municipal or places for the community to gather. None of that's gonna be this. Just, I mean, I think that the idea of a town center is good, but that's not going, that none of this will actually accomplish it, because it'll just be a, for lack, or what they said they don't want, which is a strip mall of several businesses.
Something that I'm envisioning it looking like is Station Park, and that's because I've been there.
A mini station park. Yes.
Right.
Yes. I think that's what everyone wants, a lot
Station-
smaller version.
Is that Farmington? Okay.
That's what I'm asking. They got, there's no identification there. Is there? So this is just pretty generic.
Yeah, we don't have, yeah, we had the DAT, it wasn't formally adopted, but county has it kind of on their website, but the DAT, the design assistant team that made the plan for Mountain Green basically had this Main Street, this concept a couple decades ago, but it was nicely done. But I agree, we don't have, there's no place on our zoning map that spells out, yeah, this is gonna be where.
Because where is our town center? The town center is at the bottom of Trappers, right?
Kind of that area, yep. That big,
And I think it's going to be hard to get that feel with the highway running through it too.
right, unless it goes off to the side, unless we can get off
But
west,
If you made
west
that
of,
all fairgrounds and have more of that, it's not gonna happen, but I'm saying,
Right.
if you're to turn that all into fairgrounds and a swimming pool and those type of buildings, that would still have some degree of
amenities.
that from amenities, but it
See-
won't happen.
yeah, there's the Mountain Green DAT, he's pointing out that that's what they envisioned. Type of Main Street,
2,000 feet.
yeah, it's. It's a well-done document.
Yeah, but they didn't get used.
Yeah.
Because that's
This
not
one.
what Mountain Green looks like.
That Central Development District. Not to say Main Street can't be there, but
Does the county almost have to buy or put in a main street?
if the county wants to control what goes in there, unless you have incentives, major incentives to allow for it to happen.
I'm saying the main reason they have the main streets in Morgan the way they, or any town, is because the county largely controls it or decided how to lay that out. And that's,
Well, we just,
yeah, no, I agree. It would be having the right incentives, or the county would have to buy it or put it in.
yeah. So we'll move on to the increase amenities and livability.
strengthen the relationship with Snow Basin. Snow Basin's proximity to Mountain Green is one of the town's greatest assets, with Snow Basin's outdoor recreation offerings and events providing year-round interest. Snow Basin also has ambitious plans to expand development, including multiple mixed-use villages, as well as a significant amount of residential development. This will undoubtedly bring more attention and visitors to the resort, changing the character and the nature of the area. Mountain Green should proactively work to create a symbiotic relationship with Snow Basin that can leverage the economic benefits of resort users. Can you scroll up, please? Resort users without losing the vision of a resident-focused community. Okay. Anticipate future Olympic Games. Future Olympic Games. Utah is a likely candidate to be awarded the Winter Olympic Games in 2034, I believe.
Yep, now.
If that were to happen, Snow Basin would likely play a major role in hosting events, with Mountain Green playing an important role as the nearest town. Mountain Green should utilize the opportunity to bolster infrastructure, support the development of the town center, and further other economic development goals.
How does this work? I'm curious how this works. We're trying to support tourism, but not be part of tourism.
I don't think it can work. I don't think it can work.
We want people to come, spend money and leave.
Where, an
That-
old farm?
Well, that's it. We need a place for them to come and spend their money. That's where the main street comes into play, so that people want to come up.
Which would be tourism.
Tourism, but yeah.
Which is what the first 2 or 3 pages said that they didn't want.
But with the exception of like staycations, people go to tourism places and stay.
For a little bit and they leave. It's not permanent residence, is what I'm saying.
But they don't want that, right?
They don't want what?
They don't want it to be a touristy town.
I don't think they want the trappings, yes, and the congestion. that
But
could
those
happen.
things come with tourism.
Right. I guess they want it up at Snow Basin.
They can't have their cake and eat it too. Alright, increase public access to trails. Trails are the #1 requested amenity the Mountain Green residents would like to see. While the town has incredible potential for a network of trails, much of the land is currently private and inaccessible. As development of these lands occur, publicly accessible trails should be implemented as part of the development. Future development should also ensure trails and sidewalks connect to surrounding developments and the existing network to provide a high-quality trail and sidewalk system that safely and effectively connects the town.
It's accurate. Everyone wants trails.
They don't want to pay for them or give up private property, but they all want it.
They all want it. Yep.
Increase public parks and gathering spaces. As development occurs, public parks with important amenities like playgrounds, sports fields, pavilions, and other desired community amenities should be provided.
Agree with that, okay.
Proactively address the issues. Reduce the property tax burden on residents. Property taxes for Morgan County residents have been rising significantly, and Morgan currently has the 6th highest property tax rate in the state. To bring these rates down, the tax base must be expanded and diversified. Address housing affordability. At the time of the study, the Peterson Mountain Green home values averaged over $900,000. Despite Morgan County having the 2nd highest average household income in the state. That's interesting, I didn't know that. The data shows that housing is unaffordable for the average current Morgan resident. If this trend continues, many Mountain Green residents and their prosperity could be priced out of the communities they helped build.
We agree with the affordability problem.
But that we can't address it.
Yeah.
It's a nice problem to state, you just can't do anything about it.
Supply and demand, yep.
Manage tourism. The Mountain Green area has a strong tourism appeal, which can bring important tax dollars to the county, while also supporting other community assets and services. Mountain Green has historically been a small town of full-time residents, which is an important distinction that should be maintained. However, without careful planning, tourism can also overrun a community and become a burden and a nuisance to residents. Residents have consistently stated their desire to not become a resort and tourist-based community such as Park City. Copy paste from the first page.
Yep.
Reworded a little, come on.
Not enough to be not noticed. Smart and sustainable infrastructure. The infrastructure will need to be enhanced to accommodate the anticipated growth in Mountain Green. Infrastructure improvements should be holistic solutions that will become a solid foundation for the community for decades to come, rather than piecemeal or haphazard quick fixes that could require costly future upgrades and inadequate systems.
Okay. That's it for Mountain Green. Guiding principles. So we'll, any comments?
It looks nice on paper.
Good, lot of good aspirations.
Yep. Well, that's aspirational, that's what general plans and area plans are.
Were there any comments on those guiding principles?
At the last meeting? No. So let's go into the Peterson guiding principles, again, page 30, well, 31. Do you want me to take over? Are you hanging in there, or do you need
I
reading?
can hang in there.
Okay.
Keep what makes Peterson a beloved place. Maintain the small town feel. Both longtime residents and recent transplants consistently cite the small town feel of Peterson as a primary characteristic that both brought them there and are the most important element why they want to preserve moving forward. Preserve the town's agricultural heritage. The character of Peterson has historically been defined by the many agricultural fields and working farms that have provided open space, beauty, and a sense of place for residents. The reality of the current economic climate is that these family farms have become less economically viable. As the use of these lands change over time, care and forethought should be taken to ensure that the character and heritage is preserved. Preserve the
first
open
sentence eliminated like before.
I think that that's fine to keep because it's talking about the agriculture heritage, and that first sentence is about the heritage. Preserve open space, mountain views, and dark skies. The natural beauty of Peterson is one of its greatest assets. The incredible mountain views, abundant open space, and dark skies make this truly special. While future development will inherently reduce the amount of open space, there are numerous planning and policy tools that should be used to preserve important open spaces, protect key view sheds, and ensure the dark skies of Peterson remain. These tools will help ensure that the area's most cherished resources and assets remain an integral part of the community in perpetuity.
Okay, any comments about that section?
It's basically the same as the other.
Yeah. Pretty close.
Be strategic about future growth. Guide growth to appropriate locations. Growth is inevitable, but where and how growth occurs is something that can be shaped by direction from county leaders and residents in the form of plans and policies. It is essential to embrace the reality and create a plan that respects private property rights, while also articulating a clear vision for a future town that residents will embrace and love. Impacts to the existing residents should also be considered, and new growth should be guided to areas that minimize negative impacts. Ensure quality and compatibility. Peterson is an extraordinary place, and high standards are expected for future development. It is critical to require development to be compatible with the mountain environment and rural character of the area, and development should support the community goals. All development should be done in a manner that minimizes visual disturbance to the landscape and works with the natural topography to blend in with surrounding environments. Support property rights. Private property rights are a foundational right and should be supported. Ultimately, there needs to exist a balance between the rights of landowners, developers, and community members through a clear, fair, and transparent process that allows development to occur in alignment with an agreed-upon plan that supports the overall well-being of the community. Create a symbiotic relationship with Mountain Green. Peterson's proximity to Mountain Green encourages a close symbiotic relationship. Mountain Green has plans to construct a town center with various commercial uses and community services. Peterson should plan to support this town center rather than compete with it, though some commercial uses and services that add to the quality of life of Peterson residents may be appropriate.
Okay.
Is that what's planning to happen in the future? Is that Peterson has a town center Main Street too, or what?
No, it says, it doesn't talk about a town center. It just has some commercial uses. I mean, we've got Heinz.
Well, right, but it's talking about competing with Mountain Green. No,
Oh,
that's
that's
in
Barter
Stoddard.
View Lodge.
No, I'm saying there's the bar that runs along the Fairfield Highway.
Oh, that's Stoddard. It's saying that, it's not talking about a town or town center in Peterson, but to have some commercial uses.
Yeah, it sounds like instead of having its own, it just says use Mountain
You
Greens.
use Mountain Greens support.
Push the, probably why they have trails and roads that want to connect over there easier.
Okay.
Proactively address the issues. Reduce the property tax burden on residents. Property taxes for Morgan County residents have been rising significantly, and Morgan currently has the sixth highest property tax rate in the state. To bring these rates down, tax base must be expanded and diversified. Address housing affordability. The same.
It's the same
I was gonna
thing.
say, you're gonna learn the same fact that you found interesting. Go on.
Manage tourism. Peterson and Mountain Green has a strong tourism appeal, which can bring important. Why is Mountain Green in this one if it's in Peterson?
It was just saying that they both do.
I know, but the managed tourism is in the Mountain Green one
So
too.
we can just strike the map.
Important tax dollars to the county while also supporting other community assets and services. Peterson has historically been a small town, no full-time residents, which is an important distinction that should be maintained. However, careful planning tourism can overrun a community and become a burden and nuisance to residents. They don't want to be Park City. Smart and sustainable infrastructure. The infrastructure will need to be significantly enhanced to accommodate the anticipated growth in Peterson. Infrastructure improvements should be holistic solutions that will become a solid foundation for the community for decades to come, rather than a piecemeal or haphazard quick fixes that could require costly future upgrades of inadequate systems.
Last section.
Increasing the amenities and livability. Increase public access to trails. They're the number one requested things that residents wants to see. While the town has an incredible potential for a network of trails, all of it is private property and inaccessible. As development occurs, going from ag to residential, public accessibility trails should be implemented as part of the development. In particular, a trail along the Weaver River with fishing access is desired, as well as trails in the foothills. Future development should also ensure that trails and sidewalks connect to surrounding developments. An existing network to provide a high-quality trail and sidewalk system that safely and effectively connect the town. Increase public parks and gathering spaces. There are currently no public parks or open spaces in Peterson. As the development occurs, public parks with important amenities like playgrounds, sports field, pavilions, and other desired community amenities should be provided.
Okay, thank you. Any comments? Okay, like you say, they're aspirational. I don't think they're at odds with what people want.
They're only supposed to strike through Mountain Green, or did you want to get rid of the whole?
Well, I wondered about that. I mean, what tourism does Peterson have by itself?
Doesn't have
Heinz.
any,
Heinz soft serve ice cream.
Yeah,
Soft serve
Heinz.
ice cream. Okay.
Well, they got a lot of people coming into Wasatch Creeks.
Oh, I suppose.
Just yeah, just strike the end Mountain Green for now. I'm going to highlight managed tourism section. We can discuss
In the
it.
future, I think there's gonna be more tourism things because of
Right.
Wasatch Peaks.
Yeah, but right now there's fishing.
Yeah, but we're writing this for the future.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's fishing there. We see a lot of fishermen.
Is there many access?
No, but just right there by Heinz at the off-ramp, yeah. That's where they access.
Under the freeway, there's by the road. I don't know the boundaries enough.
Well,
to know.
technically, it's Peterson's south of the freeway, so technically, even though it's not, I know what you're talking about, yeah.
I thought technically that would be fishing in Peterson.
That's a Peterson area plan area, yeah. Okay. That's it for now. We will discuss other sections, and we'll get into land uses and their descriptions. He has identified different type of land uses that we don't currently have in our code. So at another meeting, we will,
So that's what we're doing for this meeting?
that's all we're gonna do for this meeting for Mountain Green and Peterson. And the next time we discuss it, I'll identify what sections to get into, and there'll probably be more land use at our next one.
Well, was this on the next one?
No, it's not on the next meeting, the Stoddard. I think
Yeah.
it's Stoddard is on the next meeting.
So you just say the next time we're talking.
Yeah, next time we're talking about it, yeah, not, the next meeting's gonna be a big meeting, we'll get into that in a minute.
Okay.
So as we go through next few meetings, I guess with that, we'll just take those guiding principles and try to apply them,
I guess,
see
yeah.
if they follow
Eh,
them and
See if the guiding principles, yeah,
match what they have.
match what they have in their land use. Yeah. Okay. There's our agenda for our next meeting. Oh, wow. And it's a
Should put started on this one's.
What, yeah, no, it's okay, we'll get it. Even if we have to have another meeting, which we probably might have to with that one.
What does Windows Box want to do?
Divide again, a lot. Make another lot, I think. Yeah, subdivide lot 2A. So any questions for staff?
Goodness.
You don't have anything? Do you have anything for us? Okay, the next thing is approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Motion by Member Bass, a second by Member Miller. All in favor?
Aye. So moved.
Opposed? Member Bass and Member Miller.